Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L, and now let's talk Shokugeki no Soma or Food Wars chapter 230. Apologies for the late upload. Things got away from me back on Thursday and now we're here on Sunday. Anyway, whatever. Let's just get into the video. This chapter of Food Wars, where we begin and where we end off, is just pretty much the selection of the ingredients. That is the biggest thing in terms of progression for the present storyline, and also having the flashback of what happened to Megumi and Shinomiya. Now, overall, I really like this chapter. I just think it was very adorable. I think Megumi was very adorable in the chapter, and it really put a smile on my face. I think my favorite scene in the chapter is Megumi reading her little manga when she was younger, and reading her it was ping pong. Yeah, it was a ping pong manga, and just reading about the coach. I really like that. I don't know, it was very endearing for me. So anyway, the majority of the chapter is the flashback, just setting up what the characters were doing during their training time, their training period. We know that they went for a segment where they were trying to raise their individual skills. So that was pretty cool. And then that whole flashback just revolved around Shinomiya's behavior with Megumi, and also everyone else watching this situation unfold. Throw in a few comedy moments, and this is largely a slice of life chapter, just focusing more on the character interactions. And the character interactions are really where Soma shines. So this is a pretty good chapter of Soma when it comes to the character interactions. If you enjoy the characters in particular, I think you can agree that this is a nice chapter. Now, one of the things I was very excited about coming in from the last chapter was just how Megumi was going to deal with Shinomiya, because Shinomiya was the person who pretty much traumatized the girl, and truthfully enough, we got to see some of that at the beginning. We did see that Megumi did have that mental hurdle. And then we have characterization for Shinomiya as we're going through this, and I'll talk about that in a bit because that's actually really important. But let's finish up with Megumi. So with Megumi, I ultimately enjoyed that Shinomiya's play at psychological warfare actually worked for her, and that we touched back on her thing of reading manga and her thing with the ping pong. I like that we touched back on that, and then seeing Megumi kind of pick herself up and start calling Shinomiya coach. Again, it's a very adorable sequence, and I really enjoyed it. It was cool to see, she had that struggle at the beginning, because that struggle makes sense. And then seeing Shinomiya figuring out what he could do to help her. It was a play that he probably wasn't sure whether or not it would work, but in the end of the day, it turned out to be just the right thing for Megumi. And I ultimately do like that Gin picked Shinomiya for Megumi because of their kind of common specialty with vegetables. That was pretty cool. I really enjoyed that. Overall, I think the part with Megumi's development for this is really good. I think that was an excellent flashback for Megumi. I really enjoyed it. I think she had a great training arc, and I'm very excited to see her actually do work against Momo. I think that would be, yeah, I think I'm in for it. I'm in for it. I want to see the flashback. I want to see her pull out some incredible things. And talking about Momo, we got apples as the ingredient. We know that's a problem because that puts Megumi at a disadvantage. Momo is a pastry chef. She could probably do with anything that's sweet. So it's an uphill battle for Megumi. In terms of odds, if we're talking realistic odds, because we know with Shokugeki no Soma that it looks like the authors do try to go for some kind of realistic, or some kind of, they do try to make the matches very tense. Just looking at the odds, Megumi might have a major disadvantage unless we start seeing extreme team play. And at this point, the authors have pretty much softly said that the level that Subaru provided in the previous round wasn't enough. We need to go hardcore. These guys need to be running across their kitchens, cooperating with each other. It has to be a full-on, all three of them are helping each other with their dishes. I think that's the level that we should expect to see, and since these three in particular got that kind of training, I do kind of want to see that. Just for Megumi, if she's going in it by herself, the odds are not in her favor. She might end up being just another person that whittles away at Momo's health to try and deal with her in the second round, or not the second round, but in the fourth round. If that ends up being the case, fair enough. There's the big issue of whether or not a few days of training can catch up to 3 years of experience. And when you just look at that fact, most likely not, right? That you can't catch up with just a few days of raising your fundamentals, but you should be able to catch up to the point that you can put up a legitimate fight. But we need all of our guys hitting it out of the park for this one. Hopefully, like, I am like hoping for Megumi, because it'd be amazing if she could win over Momo. But regardless of whether or not she doesn't, still, it's awesome to see her putting in the work and getting some kind of thing going on in the background. Now let's see, that's pretty much Megumi's part. The next character that's like I think really important to talk about is probably Shinomiya. I think I thought I was going to mention something else. I'm pretty sure I'm missing something, but Shinomiya. Oh, because in this chapter we have a bit of Shinomiya's thoughts on everything, and he mentions the whole thing about Azami's goal, and he calls it lofty. He mentions that he's not participating in it, and that he doesn't really care if restaurants that follow under Azami will fail. Now that's a very interesting perspective, because like Shinomiya is a gourmet. He is traveled. He is well versed. He has his whole thing in France. You know, he is a credible chef. So seeing his perspective is always valuable. It's always valuable to see the perspectives of people that came from the same place that Azami came from, and just what they think will happen. So this actually, for me, added a bit more realism to the whole thing that Azami is trying to do, because it shows that we know that there are people who are against Azami, but those were judges. Those were like the majority of the people that we've seen voice their opinions against Azami outside of the immediate Totsuki faculty were pretty much the judges that we have seen in the various, in the various Shokugekis. Sorry about that, just it slipped. And you know, I might be saying that, but truthfully there might be more people mixed in. But the prominent ones, like if you go back to Azami's chapter, the ones that were really hitting against him were the distributors and the people that had the big companies. But it's different when you have people like Gin or Shinomiya. Well, actually, Gin and Jochiro don't count because they're too close to the situation. But when you have like an outside party like Shinomiya, it adds a bit more credibility to like the idea, because like he's thinking like flat out like, yeah, this might fail. Like he acknowledges it's a lofty goal, and that's pretty cool because we see it from Azami, and Azami is very serious about it, and we get this whole thing, we get this situation painted as though, yeah, like everyone's underneath this flag, there's a lot of people coming in, Azami's like worked up his forces, but then you have Shinomiya just saying like, yeah, that's a pretty far off goal, and I really don't care if they fail. I like that level of indifference, because like if it's his opinion, that opinion might be shared across other Elite 10 alumni from Totsuki, and it just kind of balances out that situation. It makes it less extreme than it initially seemed, and overall it's good when you have characters questioning the motives the plans of another character. It's good when you have that being questioned, especially because Shokugeki no Soma takes place in a moderately realistic world. That kind of opinion, I really enjoyed it. And it's really just a little thing, but for me personally as a reader, I really enjoyed having that pop up. Now let's see, going off of Shinomiya, he has his whole thing, he has his little gags with Soma about disciples and being a master and all that, and how he wants to lead people, and I like that. It's again development from Shinomiya. I really like having Shinomiya in Shokugeki no Soma. I think he's an awesome character. I enjoy having him around, and the authors use him really well. They don't make him overstay his welcome. They bring him in when like it's cool to have him, and it's just like, yeah, I enjoy seeing Shinomiya a lot. He's awesome. He's awesome. I hope that we get a lot of cool little flashbacks throughout this whole little cooking Shokugeki round, and I just want to see more flashbacks of Shinomiya. It'll be nice. Let's see, any other little things. Aldini got trained with Gin, Soma got trained with his dad, Irina didn't get any training. I think that's because they understand Irina's like, her skill level is already competable. It's high enough. She probably could just hang out with Jochiro. Actually, like, did she actually? I might have misread something, but okay, you know what, if I misread something, whatever, but we know who got trained by who. Now, I'm not very excited to see Soma's growth, because like we've already seen Soma. Soma's the main character. We'll have plenty of opportunities to see him do cool stuff. I'm very excited about Aldini. I really want to see where he's ended up after this little training. And I think personally, you know, Aizen's already like, he's painted as a bad guy. We've seen him lose to Soma before. I really just want to see Takumi have like an effortless win against Aizen. And truthfully, like in cooking, there will never be an effortless win because you have to put in some work to make good food in general. But I want it to be just like such, when it comes to the judging portion, such a drastic difference between the two dishes that Takumi's just like, yeah, it was nothing. You know, I want to see that kind of thing, and especially because Aizen is lower in the totem pole. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how they make Takumi's round in particular challenging, because we know that Aizen has been defeated. We know that he's also been like kind of hyped up that he was holding back against Soma and all that, but like again, in terms of the wow factor, Aizen's already lost it. He's a non-issue, and especially because you have Soma already taking out someone who was higher up than him, and when you have Takumi being a rival to Soma, the natural like response is just to assume, well, like Takumi most likely could deal with Aizen unless Aizen's actually like really good, like if he's on Ishiki level, but he probably isn't. So I'm pretty excited. I want to see what Takumi's gonna do. I want him to have an effortless win. I want to see something really cool coming out of the character. And again, when you look at it, like Megumi has the hardest fight here. She has the hardest. Soma, his fight, it could be the hardest depending on whether or not they want to play up the whole thing with the fatigue coming from Saito. And Takumi has the easiest. So I want to see how they're gonna kind of even that out. How they're gonna even out the differences in the skill levels that each of the three from the rebel side is facing. And that only really matters in terms of the narrative if they want to make everything seem equal across everyone. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Those are big points I really wanted to talk about. The last shot with Takumi and Soma. Takumi looks so badass. He looks like he's really matured, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited for this round. I'm most excited for Megumi and Takumi. I want to see them really do a lot. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Till next time, and apologies again for the late upload. Have a great day.